There we go. That popped in. Morning, morning. Gotta go to my thing. 2 seconds. He always does that autoplay. I gotta kill that autoplay. Take it off. Love you, baby. I was gonna.
Throw me a blunt.
I know. I'm live.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
It's live.
what? Is...
I just have to drop the link into here. So yeah, it's right there. Just takes a second because I have to throw the link over.
Yeah, but it's not live.
It is live. 100%.
Yeah.
We are live. She doesn't believe me that we're live.
Are we live?
Yes, totally.
I don't care.
Well,
I just don't. You don't have to. Print
I have to show it.
I'm leaving. See ya.
All right.
Think of anything, text me.
Yep, I will.
Bye,
See.
everybody.
She's like, we're live. No, we're not. Bye. She's like, bye, bye. There we go. All right. She walked in right when I hit the button. I just got to pull this up. Yeah, like live. We are live like Saturday night, but it's Sunday morning. Live on Sunday Morning Coffee. It was a nice. I actually finally felt like I caught up from the cup. Had a lot of busy work. You know what I mean? You come home from the trip, being about a week down at Rifles Only, not quite, but close enough for government work, and you get home and there's all the little things. I still haven't dug into every single email. I have a metric ton of emails to get into, and then the videos from the event. I threw one up, and then because we have the Springfield Armory giveaway on the site, so if you go to the main page, the Hide TV right here. If you go to that page, we're giving away a Springfield and Leopold. So there was some stuff I had to do for that. But getting home, talking to everybody, seeing all the posts from Sniper's Hide and from Facebook and everywhere, everybody who came. Thank you, morning coffee to you all. I'm doing a super crema espresso along with a mushroom mix. I got a little bit of chaga and lion's mane in here, and I'm doing a bit of a mushroom mix with my super crema espresso this morning. Trying to be healthy. Mushrooms, man. Mushrooms are good for you. So, they take care of a lot of stuff. We actually just put some new shirts up, and unsolicited. It's kind of crazy. Unsolicited, the site put up a veterans for mushroom thing because it's mushrooms for veterans. Mushrooms for veterans, because that's a thing right now. That's becoming yes, there you go. Some cafe. Everybody get it. It's a like I said, today's the first day I actually feel like I got out of bed. I took a shower, got dressed. All week it was a drag. It was like, oh my God. But yes, exactly. Morning coffee, everyone. No milk in my coffee, just so you guys know. There is no milk in my coffee. I don't do milk. I have some sweetener, some of that agave sweetener is my thing. And then usually like I do a biscotti, I do a bagel, I do something like that for my breakfast. And then I'll take it and I have the antipasto meat, the prosciutto, the gabagool, all that neat stuff, and I'll do a bagel in the morning. If I don't do a bagel with bacon, I'll do a bagel with all that salami and put it on with a little bit of mayonnaise in the morning, and I'll eat that. The only problem is if I start off the day with the salami meats, which I love, those are the best. And they get stuck in my teeth. I get all that stupid fat stuck in my teeth, the strings of it from the gabagool and the stuff. But I also like, oh, I know, I got to text her. I want French bread. I want some French. I want to make a French bread sandwich. I got to text Laura. So I need French bread. I want to make a sandwich. but I want to make it on a French bread. So what I like is I'll take all that Italian salami, the prosciutto, and all this stuff. We have onions and pickles in a vinegar mix. It's a jar. It puts it makes it basically pickles it. Then you turn it upside down and it drains the vinegar into a reservoir. Pull out the onions, pull out the cucumbers that I need. I throw them on a sandwich. But I like turkey and prosciutto with onions, and then like pickled onion kind of, and then that Italian dressing on it. To me, some turkey and prosciutto with some onions and things like that. I'm getting myself hungry now. I'm all worked up. But that's the best. That's what I really really like for that. And then kind of more into the pop culture side of shooting, because I guess I got to talk about a little bit about shooting at some point, but it's only 5 minutes in. I don't have to talk about shooting immediately. Um, but I was watching because I just got home and we're gonna be home for a while. So I don't like to jump into series. Everything's a series now. And so I really don't like to jump into a series if I'm traveling. Cause then it's like I start it and I want to watch it and I'm away and you don't always have internet or everybody stays out late, whatever the case is. Like when we were at Rifles Only, we weren't going to bed before midnight, every night. And so because everybody's out drinking, hanging out, cooking. I mean, the food doesn't start coming out until 9, 10 o'clock at night. And so I don't like to jump into series. So I decided last night to watch that Jack Carr Dark Wolf. And I think Jack Carr does a good job. He fancies himself a new Ian Fleming, which great. I dig that. And he goes to GoldenEye, to Ian Fleming's James Bond's place in Nassau. He writes there. All kinds of really cool stuff with Jack Carr. And so I was watching Dark Wolf, and it's the SEAL story, and the SEAL shoots a guy, and he's now out. And then, the tricky people bring him in to do tricky stuff around the world. And the thing that got me, because it goes back to old school, back to me in the Marine Corps in the 80s. So I'm watching the Jack Carr Dark Wolf on Amazon, and they're running through the woods and they're doing their little obstacle course where they're racing each other and they're shooting, running, climbing, pulling things. It's an O course for them, but it's a live fire O course, and they have some slimmed down kit. And we used to do stuff like that. I mean, when I went to the Marine Corps Sniper School, if you came into the driveway of Stones Bay, the first set of buildings at the time you were going to come up to is the brick buildings start on the left, and you have correctional custody. Behind it is a white classroom, and there's a white, looks World War II building. That was Sniper School. Well, the road splits and forks, and you can go to the left and go around everything, or you can go down the main drag, which then takes you to the rifle ranges in places like that. Well, if you dropped over the hill right across from Sniper School into the woods right there was a ninja camp. And there's no other way to describe it but a ninja camp. We did hand to hand, we did sentry removal, we did like all kinds of weird ninja shit. And it's odd because it goes back to like when we're kids, us growing up with kids in the 70s. We were in the woods, we had forts, we lived in the woods. I have a cousin who's older than I am. He still has a fort in the woods. And he'll sit in there. It's his she shed, right? He goes and he years ago he built a fort in the woods, and he'll sit in there and hang out. And so that reminded me, and it brought me back to a different level of training, because a lot of the training now is for comps, is for barricade, is for 3 steps and go. And yeah, it just I was like, man, I gotta get a chest rig built. I have chest rigs. I have all kinds of chest rigs, and I want to change how I look at the chest rig again. And it's always changing. There's pictures of me real young 15 years ago in chest rigs and things, vests zipped, and there was everybody's looking for that spread your load carrier solution. I got a question from Shooter. I'm going to jump in a sec. I see you, Shooter. I'll get you. And so yeah, this week I think I'm gonna reach out to one of the chest rig guys, and I'm gonna look at changing up a chest rig a little bit. I talked about a pack. I totally think a frame with a sleeve on it and modularing, and I have one downstairs. I think in 2025, we're going to 2026 now. Creating a modular way of carrying your gear and holding your kit and taking it from the traditional, even the battle belt can be improved on. For precision rifle, for competition, for all that, the battle belt is amazing. I think we can change that up because you have the hunter guys and the bino guys with the chest rigs. And so the chest rig crowd isn't really as prone. The battle belt crowd isn't really as prone. So I think we can hybrid the chest rig to the battle belt and go in between and make it so even if you do go prone, it's not in your way. And so I'm looking at the design where I can go prone if I need to. Because we're higher now, we're up taller. You don't want to crush in on your rifle. You don't want to get as low as possible. You want to be up comfortably for you. And if that means putting a rig on and a chest rig, that's going to bring you up a little bit higher. The mounts, bringing our head up a little bit higher. Helmets and things, we need to bring our head up a little bit higher. So I think I see a hybrid chest rig and battle belt combo that's more geared towards the precision rifle shooter and not necessarily the light fighter with the carbine rig. Light fighting is it, man. We're going light fighter, and there's ways to do light fighter today that are excellent. We need the hybrid of a light fighter sniper. And so that's going to be a direction I'm going to look at going into this season. How do we create that light fighter sniper? And so rigged out. Anyway, Frank, I wanted to ask with modern machinery and tooling, what sets each bullet company apart besides design? Well, it's going to be QC. For bullets, it all comes in like reloading, Hornady, Federal. It really all comes down to QC. I've been to Hornady, and it's amazing. It's huge. They buy old tooling machines and different machines for reloading, and they upgrade them and they modernize them. And you see a lot of, even like when I went to Leopold, Leopold and a scope company, all their machines, except for very few, like one that's not modified, but it is, I'm sure, because it's camera, is the reticle one for hunting reticles. They still do it by wire. They still make it there. They have the glass etch stuff, but they have the wire reticles still. And modernized for a wire reticle machine is the computer system, right? And the overlays and how the computer looks at what's doing it. So with bullets, it's all down to QC, pushing the lead through the copper. And it's that sort. But the problem with the bullet world, and even in the Brian Litz world, they have a good enough attitude. Like 3DOF. Applied ballistics is 3 degree of freedom. We have 4 degree of freedom, which is better than 3. We have modified point mass that some people have, which is a modification of 4 degree, which is better still because once you start like 3 degree of freedom point mass with Brian Litz, there is no bullet. In the software, in the formulas, there is no bullet. Once you go to modified point mass and you start getting into the 4 degrees and 6 degree of freedom, there's a bullet. And in modified, there's a couple programs out there. They know where the bullet was, where it is, and where it's going to be. And they sort of base some math around that prediction. Where 3 degree, there is no bullet. There's no pitch and yaw. And so in their mind, it's good enough for what we're doing. And so that I don't know if that's a money thing, a mindset thing, or something other, but there's a thought process of good enough. And in a way, they could be right. But in our mind, we're trying to squeeze every bit of accuracy between us and the system, right? So the system might have a certain accuracy. We attach the shooter to that system, and that's going to change how that system then operates. So, what we're trying to do through us and the system is get that accuracy back, the precision back. And so, the good enough world is like, it's probably better than you, so it's good enough. And that's where you got to work on yourself. And that's why I always fought against these, and I'll call them phantom fixes. They're more like idiot lights on your car. Hey, you're doing something wrong. You need to fix it. Hey, you're doing something wrong. You need to fix it. It doesn't tell you what you're doing wrong. It just says you're upsetting X and Y some way. So we have tools that tell us you're pushing into X, you're playing with Y, you're doing something. And so that's where a lot of this focus is on. They'll tell you, like the biggest problem is I go out to the range. I do gravity ballistics. So gravity ballistics is based on the shot. I go to 300 yards. I'm going to dial 1 mil on the rifle. I adjust it to waterline and it tells me 0.9. That's center on the waterline. I'm on the paint line, 3/4 of an inch at 300 yards. So for me, I'm going to say that's perfect, and I'm going to multiply that to get me the next yard line. I don't care what the speed was of the shot. I don't care what the BC was of the bullet. I don't care, how heavy the air was that day, other than it's in the 0.9, right? And so but that at 300 yards, the air isn't fucking with the bullet long enough. You know what I mean? You need time. And there's not enough time of the bullet in the air for the air to be a factor at 3. So now it's out of the equation. The BC is out of the equation. The only factor that tells me what made me hit at 300 is the weight of the bullet, the muzzle velocity that I pushed it, and then what my gun barrel length, my internals, said, because tied to muzzle velocity, I needed to dial it. So all of the math that's in applied ballistics is irrelevant until I get to about 5. Now at 5, these factors are starting to work on the bullet. When I go to 1,000, my time of flight on that SD, my BC, my muzzle velocity, all of that now is telling me what led to the hit at 1,000. And they're explaining that to you. When you shot that bullet at 1,000 yards, all these things were a factor. Yes. So think about all of it. No. I only need to think about one thing at that point. The number I needed to hit the 1,000, which is 8.6 for the 6 arc. It's in my head now. So, because of that, I don't have to worry about it. Now, wind, I need to know factors for my wind because I'm going to dope the wind, right? So that's my other factor. I need to know certain things, but I don't anymore need to know the science. I just need to know the big number, my gun number or my drift factor. My drift factor for this bullet is a 5. Okay. I know I need 8.6 to hit 1,000. And so I have a 5-mile-an-hour gun. Wind is 5-mile-an-hour wind is going to push me a mil at 1,000 yards. So that then leads into my big calculation. My big calculation for the wind is direction for my cosine, right? Where's it coming from? And then the speed. Okay. All of these, I reduced the smaller numbers. Even if I had a 12-mile-an-hour wind, if I have a 75% of it, I'm only going to do like that 8 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour. I'm going to be in there, right? I'm not doing 12. So I brought my math down again, and then I got to divide it by the 5, and that's going to give me my percentage. Maybe I'm doubling. Maybe I'm 1.5% of the distance. So I'm using simplistic numbers that really don't go past my fingers. I'm doing 3rd to 5th grade math, depending where you went to school. And that's telling me, all right, I'm going to shoot 1,000 yards. I'm basing off this 5-mile-an-hour gun. All right, I'm holding 1.5 mils for the wind. I know I need 8.6. I already determined that. And even if the weather changes big, I'm probably only going to move 0.3 plus or minus off of that 8.6. I should see it. If I knew nothing and only came out one time a year and you randomly did a generator and said, Frank, one day a year, you got to walk out, make 1,000-yard shot, and walk away. Okay, I still have the basic info that I need. I got what I need. And I should, without knowing anything, if I missed, should still be able to see it inside my field of view around the scope. And because it's 1,000 yards, I'm looking at probably a 1.2, 1.5 second time of flight. I have a 1.5 seconds to recover from recoil if I'm that guy to look and see it now. So that to me is where Shooter's question's going, where what stands one bullet apart from the other is the quality control. And what do and in that, the only way we have to look at a quality control is the SD and the muzzle velocity. So once we're in that zone, it's SD and muzzle velocity. And that's what Chris does. If you, like, Chris is insane with it. We give him a hard time a lot because he shoots factory. He does have reloads, but he's not set up until he moves for reloading. So he's been shooting factory ammo. That's a FU right out of the gate when you're doing a competition. So you're going to an F1 or IndyCar competition and now you're bringing a stock motor, like no custom work on your motor. That's what factory ammo is. So you're always dependent on that box of ammo to tell, that could either help or hold you back. And so that's the crazy part with it, is that box of ammo, because it's factory and not hand loads. And that's the benefit, right? That's where you're looking at. I mean, the bullets, like I said, the bullet part is good enough. It's the QC. If you wait and sort, you can get it down to the nth degree. But that's a bench rest thing. And we have moved to a bench rest level of reloading. They're trying to do it faster, but they're still doing bench rest quality reloading. They're using the scientific scales. They're using the tricklers, and they're doing things to a degree. Now, once they fall into their spot, they go. But I'm seeing guys come out to mentor and to practice with Chris, who are the comp people, SDs of 3 or less. Like, they'll shake their head a bit if they're a 5. Think about that for a minute. That this is the level of competition that in what's supposed to be a field style event, like the NRL Hunter guys, I see more NRL Hunter than I see Prissies. Some of them do both, but the NRL Hunter guys, they come through every week almost. They're reloading to an SD of sub 5 for a field match, a find it, range it, engage it hunter match. Chris is going through lots, plural, lots of ammo and lot of ammo. Lots of them, like the lot. There was a thing here somewhere. Oh, there, I can't reach him. Or on top of going through a lot of ammo to find the perfect balance for the rifle he's bringing and the factory ammo he's shooting. Because he's trying to balance not hand loading. So he spends an exorbitant amount of time looking at factory loads, A versus B, A versus B. To be honest, I'm going to cut to the chase, shooter, Lapua, or the yellow and black burger. Lapua, yellow or black burger. That's where you want to go. My rifle's right now shooting the 123 grain factory Lapua is 2910 with an SD of 3.7 from factory. That's Lapua factory. It's huge because right now, I mean, 6 arc out of my rifles with Hornady are sub 10s, but they're 6s to 9s. But if I go to the 6.5 Creed, I'm 12s to 18s off of a 22s to 32s. You can't get anything done in a 30. You got a SD at 25, you're not getting anything done out at distance against other people, especially. If you're plinking, sure. But that's probably why that one missed. And I tell this story all the time. Hang on, I'm drinking my coffee. I tell it all the time that with Chris in his oh, hang on, I had to hit a couple things. Something was coming. But I was checking my stuff. Hang on. But yeah, you where Chris had the guy came in. All right, sorry, took a second. So here's the story. NRL hunter, shooter, comes to our range in Fort Morgan to do some work and mentor with Chris. And he's shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor. Out here in Colorado, out west, they shoot the heavy 153 grain Burger. Yeah, exactly. In Alaska, they're saying a 168 lot of Winchester had an SD of 85 and an ES of 85. But so I'm not working with them. So Chris and or was Ryan, I believe, they're shooting, and he sets a stage up, and it was like 1,000-yard stage. And I see Ryan move on the clock, drop into a position, locate the target. He shoots, and then he stands up to sort of move the tripod to another target. And when he does that, he moved it, put the tripod down, and then I heard dink. And when the stage was over that they ran, I went, time out. What is going on? I said, what's your muzzle velocity? Are you 2650? Because they were downloading the 6.5 Creeds and all that. This is what they do with the 6 mils. 6 mils are 3,000, right? 6.5 or 6 Creed, 3,200. The Dashers, the GTs, their sweet spot is 2850. But if you were to buy 6 Creedmoor, 243, anything in the 6 mil centerfire, it's closer to 3,000. They download it and they find that perfect sweet spot at 2850 for those comp 6 mils. Your GT is designed to be right in that zone, 28 to 2950. It's like money spot. And that's why they fight. They work so hard to have a dasher, because the dasher just boop like a BR, and it's a little bench resty thing. And what they're trying to do, no recoil, muzzle velocity, consistent, but then where's the balance? 2850. So they're downloading the 6.5 Creeds to like 2650, which is a 308 number. So they're taking their 6.5 Creed 2750, they're making it 2850 or 2650 rather, and they're shooting it and they're floating it. And his SD was like 0. And he said he went to a comp with Magneto Speed there. He came up with, they ran him with a 0 and they wanted to rerun him. And he's like, no, I'm a 0. So that 3 or less, even let's just say 5 or less to make it easy. Shooting a rifle with an SD under 5 is a game changer if you've never done it. At distance, you're going to stack stuff. Don't do it at 100. Do it at 6. Do it at 8. That's where you see the SDs appear. At 100, you're not going to see shit. 6, 8, 1,000 is where it shows up. So then I had him shoot groups on camera. And he had 3-inch groups with his comp stuff at 1,000. He had 6-inch groups with his practice ammo at 1,000. I happen to have factory Burger 153 yellow and black box, and I asked him to shoot 5 rounds of that. Give me 5 rounds yellow and black box. He only hit 4 out of 5 on the plate. So here's a guy in a rifle with his hand loads, shot a 3-inch group in front of me. With his hand loads and his comp strays thrown in a bucket for practice, he shot a 6-inch group for me. With factory, 4 out of 5 on the plate. So that's what you see Chris fighting. That's what you see people fighting, and why they chase consistency, and why it is important to look at factory ammo the way Chris does it if you're going to compete with it. Really, the only answer, if you're competing and you want to be serious, you got to reload. If you're there for you, if you're there for your skills, if you're there because it's your golf game you want to enjoy, your bowling league you like, factory will do you fine. It's not going to make you any points. It's not going to help you, but it'll get your reps in. But if you want to be or attempt a podium, you got to reload. You got to have a fresh barrel, under 2,000 rounds. And once you hit 2,000, toss it. You know what I mean? It's got to go away. And so that's where the world is. So there's your question, Shooter. Big, long, looping answer for that. But yeah, that's kind of how it gets done. And just checking, making sure. But yeah, we did. And then in Alaska, because Ruben's talking Alaska and the crappy stuff, the ammo situation in Alaska is very difficult. And I mean, we had 6.5 PRC that had creases in it, and ones that blow up, and there's all kinds of problems. The other thing I want to show you guys, we were playing with the Leica. So here, these came in right before I left for Rifles Only, and we used them at Rifles Only. Leica's new Colon X2 thermals, and this one has the laser rangefinder. This thermal, it's a monocular or it's a clip-on. So this guy unscrews the eyepiece, then has a mount, a real heavy mount. It's aluminum, but it's heavy. And you can time this and set it up correctly, which is really good. So there, I'm mounted. But this works as a monocular mount. It's got mounts underneath. It's dark. And then this clamps over the scope. And then this guy goes in. I gotta find my piece. There we go. And it has a locking ring. There we go. You gotta lock it. So now this becomes your clip-on. This goes on your scope, right? And then you put the adapter over your monocular, your eyepiece, so you have a rubber eyepiece, and then this clips onto the scope, and now you have your thermal right there. Back here is your laser rangefinder, and then you have your menus and zooms and different record buttons, your focus ring and things like this. What a crispy, nice unit. I was using it the green and white as well as black and white. Somebody hit a bunch of buttons on me. I like the green and white better. I got to go back to it and see. But this thing, your on and off is just right here. Day, night, right? You got a day setting, a night setting. So you're just sliding that little one way or the other. And yeah, it's just like that. There you goes your mount. Get the light on it. There you are. So that's that little piece in there, goes over. So they sent me with this guy 2 hunting scopes, a 50 and 56. So I'm going to use it with both. And then, like I said, you could spot. I wish you could feel these threads. These threads are like so nice. And I'm going to tell you, the only negative is the rubber is slippery. like I get a little bit of sweaty. This rubber slippery. That is the only negative, but there is a chest or a strap. I could connect a strap in here, do that, and then mount it and stuff. But I was out looking back into the rifles only field and beyond 100 and stuff. I was seeing the field mice. I was seeing anything running around, after we dug everything up and that. And we were shooting mice, rats and stuff in the garbage pile at night from 50 meters away. And looking through that, I can ID and tell everything in there. And there's a lot of heat inside. It's South Texas. It was 90 degrees, so it was really hot. And everything in that garbage pit sort of radiated heat. And as it went in the night, it cooled off quite a bit. But then anything running around was your rats and mice, right? Possum out there. They saw rabbits, armadillos. But I mean, over 300 yards, I got an armadillo clear as day. Him, a little tank running around. I'm shaking everything. And so super, super nice unit. But this guy, that's your mount. And it just pops right in, clips on. I posted a photograph of it on the rifle. And so there it is mounted. I got the scope on the rifle. I have to zero it up, but it's right out on the rifle like that. And that's exactly what it looks like. I have my small 6.5 Creed, little light guy. It's only like just that 14 pounds. And I'm using the Leica 2 to 15 hunting scopes. Really nice. The only thing is they sent me MOA. Okay. It's a hunting scope, so the MOA is fine. But it has a little, just a hash marky reticle, which is good. It'll work for me. I could do a little bit of holdovers. I got to see what their reticle is. I haven't looked yet. But we were traveling or getting ready for the Sniper's Hide Cup. Everything came in the day before we were leaving. I threw one set because they gave me two sets, a 50 and a 56. And then I believe one has a laser rangefinder, one doesn't. This had the laser rangefinder. Worked really well. Gives me a reticle in the center, and I'm able to laser range find everything. In like I said, the picture was so clean, so nice with that. But we took it down just to play with it, but I haven't even dug into it yet. This week, I'm gonna dig into this Leica, and I'll start bringing No, Ruben's asking. I did. Yes, we did. But I used it for the Rat Safari, Blake. I just spotted with it. But Ruben, I'm still very minimalist. I don't chase it, but now because of the volume, because of the the ultimate reloader people are everywhere now. Everybody, because of comps, is so much more quicker and in tune to reloading. Here was the thing. Get this. Let me get a. Back in the day, guys were insanely anal retentive reloading. Right? And then we were doing the Sniper's Hide Cup. We're doing the Shooter's Bash. There's all these people still, not they don't do it like they do now, but back then there's a whole reloading area of Sniper's Hide, the reloading depot. And we don't really promote it and push it, but there is a lot of reloading resources on the hide. It's static. But people now are reloading so heavily. You have the ultimate reloader guys putting out content and getting huge followings for reloading because, as I just said, if you're shooting a competition and you're not reloading, you're just playing. It's your weekly bowling league and you're bowling, and that's fine. I'm not criticizing that. You're out doing it. But if you're reloading for comp now, they do it every week. They do it last minute. They work real jobs, and then they're going to come home, get in the car, drive, maybe sleep in their car, sleep in a hotel. It's better now with the number of comps that you can almost sleep in your own bed. But in the past, you always traveled. And so what would happen is you would get guys on the hide that would show reloading stuff that was millimeters. Hey, man, bring that to the comp. Oh, no, I'm not ready. Oh, I'm still developing. I'm still developing my load. That was the excuse. So reloaders spoke more, shot less. There's a thing in that cycle that they enjoy, and I didn't. Right? There's a lot of these weird things I don't like. I just like this part, not that part, which is odd. And it limits me in how I talk about it. But anyway, they're in this cycle. Well, now you can't be in that cycle. And if you're reloading and not showing up, no one's going to pay attention to you. So they reload quicker, they cut to the chase, and it's a lot less trial and error. Like the Valkyrie load. So I go to Pennsylvania. One of the shooters, Kevin, has an MPA tricked out Valkyrie. Very nice rifle. He's reloading for it. He's reloading the 85.5 Berger at 29.50. I show up, he gives me the rifle in the load, and he's like, Frank, try the Valkyrie at 29.50 with an 85.5. I'm like, that's amazing. It's shooting lights out. We have guys that were getting ready to go to like a finale or a comp, and they were working up. The Valkyrie hand loads were keeping up with them. And I'm like, beautiful. Give me that load and I'm taking it home. Well, as soon as I took his load home, I recreate it, run out to the range. I'm getting 3,200 plus. I'm like, whoa, super hot. I have to go. So now I do my seating depth and I play with it. It took me maybe one trip extra to the range to settle in on a load. So I worked up a ladder, it's a combo of the Satterley ladder and the original ladder, because the ladder's changed. And the original, and I'm spacing his name, he's an East Coast guy, Maryland, Pennsylvania, begins with a G, like green something. I'm spacing it. He invented the ladder stuff. Satterley sped it up, read it different, and got you to the point quicker. So a lot of people do the ladder workup faster now. Well, I worked up my way and I knew, okay, so I see it. Once I see I'm just going there. Like pattern recognition for me. In the gravity ballistics and that, I'm very fast on pattern recognition. And I can jump to the number I need. So I was able to get my Valkyrie process quick. My very next trip to the range with the block of rounds that I took, the last one I tried was the best. So I ended up at a 1.8 ogive. He was a 1.6. I ended up with like 27 grains of powder. He was like a 28. Or I'm like 27.5 or something, or 26.5, and he was 28. And it ended up with an SD of 5. So I had 3,025 feet per second, 22's like speed. So the 85.5 at 3,000 with an SD of 5. I'm done. That's my load. You know what I mean? So I was able to fall into that quick. So, like, if I was going to do the 153, I shoot for a speed. And in Ryan's case, he was doing the same thing. He was shooting for that 2650 to 2600. He did a trial and error drop. Like, I'm going to drop this load, and it ended up at 2575 and gave him that SD of 0. He went with it. It was like done. Wasn't the 2650 he wanted, it was lower, but the SD, because slower is easier than faster. So when you're reloading in the slow node, which is why a lot of our ammo is very slow. You hear me talk about ammo being in the slow node. Norma is slow, 2750. Like 6.5 Creedmoor, 2750 is their low, slow node. And that's the easy button for manufacturers. 2850 is the sweet spot, but it's on the higher end of speed. Harder to be consistent, harder to make sure it's accurate in everybody's rifle. So, slow node. Slow node works in a lot more, has a lot less recoil, tends to be a little more consistent. And, you know, that's where the world kind of fell to, because we're selling to a wide variety of people. And that's, to me, where the mindset is. Ammo's everything. And like ELR, I don't give a fuck what you're shooting. I honestly don't care. I don't care. It's like, what did you build? No one cares. Your ammo is everything in ELR. If you're not focusing on that load and that rifle and getting your numbers perfect, that's the entire game in ELR, because the bullet is going from supersonic to transonic to subsonic. And any little wiggle in that process is going to upset that bullet. So ELR is 90% your ammo, 5% your rifle. The rest is you, because they're not really attaching them. I mean, I could make it 75% ammo, right? It's 15% your rifle and 10% you, if you're light on the trigger and you're staying off the gun and you're not pushing into it too hard or flipping it over. If you're staying off the rifle correctly, it's 10% you, because it's so big and heavy, but it's 75% the bullet, 15% the gun and barrel, and then that last 10% is you actuating that trigger the same way, or keeping it on target through the firing process, because your barrel is that long. It really, the one thing you have to do in that ELR world is figure out your recoil management. What's the easiest way for you to actuate that shot, complete that firing task, so the rifle recoils the same way every time? So if you can find your body position and your way of hitting that trigger with your rear bag, with your bipod, so it's the same every time, and you'd be in just a slab of dead meat behind it, it's all bullet after that. And then your data, right? It's all bullet after that, though. To do the same thing over and over again at extended distance, bullet. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been to a bunch of King of 2 Miles. I got media at a bunch of King of 2 Miles. They let me on the firing line at a bunch of King of 2 Miles plus other ones. I was RO at a world event, the only RO. So I could see. I want to see what everyone's doing. So I volunteer for silly shit like that. Or I show up because King of 2 Miles only 4 hours away and I watch. Spend the night, talk to people I know, and film the next day and then go home that night. So I see the finale. I've watched guys push the rifles over because they're into the gun. You can't be into the gun, man. Not when you're shooting that stuff. So I've seen the guys into the gun. I've seen the guys make a 6-inch group off the target and never change their point of aim. Saw Mark Lonsdale, right? Do it. Hit the rail every time. And nobody has spotted, didn't see it. Guys were in the TV room watching it. He had a beautiful group. Not on the plate. You know what I mean? So that's where all of that stuff falls into play when you're shooting it, is when you're out in the field doing it, the bullet really is. And so in the field matches, there's more of us involved. It's the bullet in an inside 1,000-yard or an NRL hunter is technically inside 800, right? The bullet has a lot less factor. Inside 800, it's 25% the bullet, all the rest is you. 75% shooter, 25% bullet. In ELR, it's 75% bullet, 25% shooter and gun. Right? It's different, and that's where those things balance. If you want to get to that last 10%, it's the bullet. The bullet is what's going to push you over for that last 10%. You need to be on the podium. You need to be top 10, top 15. Your reloading's got to be on point to where your shots are effortless. You have to know that's hitting. And they do. I mean, that's why they're cleaning matches. That's why they're doing stuff and I found, so during the Sniper's Hide Cup, the first morning, I gave a little bit of a speech because this is the 25-year reunion for Sniper's Hide. I bought the domain 25 years ago in November. And so I spoke on that. And during the live, Vimeo crashed. And so the live got hung up and fell off Sniper's Hide that first Friday morning. Well, luckily for me, my system records a copy to my computer, and that didn't crash. So yesterday I was able to retrieve me speaking to everyone at the Sniper's Hide Cup. And I had said, we went from a 308 LTR doing these matches because we were moving. Nobody wanted to carry a heavy rifle. You carried as heavy as you can suffer for running stages in South Texas, right? And so 308 LTR working guns were the average. And we shot these competitions that way. Well, it morphed into your 20-pound flat bottom 6mm. And the old guys, myself, the OG crew, will laugh and say they shoot belly bench rest now. Not belly, but belly bench rest is a thing. That's F class. Barricade bench rest. So we'll say, oh, look, these guys are barricade bench rest. They put their rifle on a sandbag. They shoot it like they're shooting bench rest. And then they move the rifle to the next spot. And they do it because they have very light triggers. They don't have field practical triggers. I mean, there was a time NDs were happening where they, for a year, this is no shit, for a year plus, NDs didn't get you in trouble as long as you hit the berm. So they were NDing because they were trying to learn where their triggers had to be. And so, to me, the balance should be, all right, we went from a 12-pound rifle with a 5-pound trigger to a 25-pound rifle with a 5-ounce trigger. We kind of need to be about a 16 to 18 max pound rifle with the 1-pound trigger. Your 15 ounces is kind of where it should be. So we had a 12-pound rifle with a 5-pound trigger. Now we have a 25-pound rifle with a 5-ounce trigger. We really need a 15-pound rifle with a 15-ounce trigger. If that should be the game. And then max weight should really be 18. And that should be the game for a run and gun style match. And then mix up the stages. Right? 5 stages to test one thing, 5 stages to test something else, 5 stages to test another thing, and then have a mix of game stages and play stages. So you should say, these 5 stages are going to test this, these 5 stages are going to test this, and then these 5 stages are going to test this. The rest is for entertainment. And if you did that model, I think you'd have a pretty successful race gun series. I already did it all. Too old, too lazy, too tired. I don't need to prove it to nobody no more, but in my mind, that's where the balance should be. Then, right back to what I said, open in factory. Basically, the open division is open as it is now, but with weight limits. And then your other division is limited to factory ammo. Factory ammo is the decider. Really is. And you just say factory guns and this and that, give it a barrel length. You have to give it a barrel length on the limited division. Open division, limited division. Open division, limited division. Limited division needs a weight limit, 18 pounds. The open needs a weight limit. Give them 20, if you want, but 18 pounds. But then the limited division, barrel length. 26 is max factory barrel. Let them rebarrel the rifles because you're burning barrels out, dude. Let them rebarrel them. And 26 is your max. So if you do an open division with an 18 to 20 pound max, and then you do a limited division with an 18-pound max and a 26-inch barrel, factory ammo. That's all you need is 2 divisions. And then if you want to sub for people, Ellie, kids, you do it within the divisions. So you can have an open female, a limited female, open kids, limited kids. And now it's simplified. Now you can bring in the factory stuff. You don't need 16 fucking divisions that then get watered down. They're completely watered down. Like I said, the tactical 308 class got $1,500 for winning, and the main guy's got 10 grand. Right? Yeah. The GT is overkill, man, for that range. And that range is a working range. And Jacob's stages don't give advantage. Like they're saying in the thing that at the Cup, the 6 GT felt overgunned. Like it's too much. And you don't need it because Jacob's stage is designed where the 308 guy is not at necessarily a disadvantage. we've had matches at Rifles Only. 308 guys were top 5 alongside the 6 mil guys because the 308 guy was on his game. And so there's ways of improving it. They won't. I battle with them. They don't like me. I don't like them. I think they're stupid, the new crew. And so they'll never do it right. It's all now that series and that bullshit is all based on sponsor money. Sponsor comes in, they know they can hit them up for big bank, 50 grand, and they'll get a sportsman's division that's designed for Tika. You know what I mean? And it's made for a Tika. And it's like, but I bought a Bagara. Yeah, you're a pound over, dude. Sorry. Tika's right. You should have bought a Tika. Oh, man, I had my Bagara and I wanted to do that. Or I had my this and I wanted to do that. And my this is 15 pounds and they're at 13 pounds. You know what I mean? And it's like, ah. And so somebody can go and manipulate them division-wise with a paycheck. They compromise themselves based on money. And so these divisions they didn't design things because of practicality and how people shoot and operate. They designed it based on who paid them and why to promote something. You know, none of those divisions make any sense anymore. They're beyond ridiculous. They don't understand the gun world. They don't understand how people buy and shoot because they only talk to the ones that came to the bowling league with a custom bowling ball. It's like, dude, I talked, Homer's got his own ball. So they go to Homer and they say, oh, Homer, yeah, man, look at my ball. And he spent a lot of money on his ball and his bag, right? The bag that holds the ball is tricked out. The arm thing he's wearing is tricked out. Meanwhile, Joe Schmo comes in and rents a ball and shoes and doesn't have an army thing. He don't count. But if you looked at the ones in the middle, if you looked at certain things and designed a series around, like NRL Hunters Practical, find it, range it, engage it. Weight limits, 16s and light divisions and things like that for hunters. They know where the hunter is. They know what the hunter's doing. So an NRL hunter is much closer. Yeah, you'd have to play with ammo though, because you can do a factory. Can't you do a factory in Hunter with a fix? Because I believe you have to play it. Oh, they have a specific gun list. They should just do a size and weight list. I didn't know they had a gun list. You probably can't mix that gun with the factory ammo and make power factor or just shoot the factory division because it's not listed individually. I thought they made it where if it was a factory gun with a factory ammo, it has its own little thing. You're not in the running for the big stuff, but they don't have that. And or is it has to be their gun, the one written? Nathan's on there. Nathaniel, I don't know I don't have the rules memorized, but I could have sworn there was a factory gun, factory bullet division, but I didn't know if it doesn't have a name. I didn't realize that it had to be an approved list of a gun. I just thought it had to fall in the weight. Oh, okay. So, okay, well, that in a way that makes sense. But I mean, you probably can get a Q put on a list. You probably can reach out to NRL Hunter if you know Q makes enough guns. I would bet you can add it yourself. So I would bet you can go, hey, man, I'm shooting a Q. Can you put that on the list? Q sells enough guns. He's a big enough manufacturer. The reason they did the gun thing is because of the production gun and Pierre and the Prissy guys. And Here's why. I'll tell you exactly why. It happened multiple years in a row with Doug Koning and Ruger. Yeah, Doug Koning and Ruger. The Ruger gun that Doug shot wasn't skewed. When Doug made the finale, they skewed him. That's why they made like Gap's production rifle a factory gun over there. Well, Matt Alwine beat Doug Koning, and they said his gun wasn't a production gun. And so they zapped him because of the controversy. It happened 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row over at the Prissy people, they had somebody in their factory division. It was Ruger. The first time he shot a caliber, Ruger didn't sell. Then when the year, because the year, we're getting close to shot, the end of the year, Doug made it to the finale with a caliber Ruger didn't sell. They created a skew. Matt Alwine had a custom gunsmith make his gun and called it a production gun like Gap. Matt beat Doug, and then Doug complained and said, I'm skewed. He's not. In 2 years in a row, Ruger won the production thing on a technicality because the guy wasn't on a list, because they were having Josh Kuntz from Patriot Valley build a production gun. George Gardner built a production gun. And then they were playing that word game with production. So Nathaniel, if you go to NRL Hunter and say, I'm shooting a Q fix, can we put a Q on the list? I would bet you $1,000 they'll do it. And so that the thing that you're talking about too, Long Gunner, is the JTAC people. JTAC is very well known when they would do the heat stroke in the matches at the JTAC range, that you had to be in a certain spot on a prop, and a certain bipod would work on that prop. Like for them, Harris, why you see them on a Harris is because they built a lot of stuff to work with a Harris, and then they pull it down quick with that pull the Harris and deploy it like the 3-gun people. And then if you put your bipod here, it's perfect. And so there was matches that, well, guys, I mean, the thing is they're very good at rewriting the history of the comps and then changing the past or erasing the past. In the past, there was always a lot of drama of people gaming the props, gaming how you use the prop, and only certain people knew it. They even had a time they would take like 2 or 3 stages in the matchbook, and the range would be off by 10 yards, and only certain clicks knew it. So you'd go up and shoot them. Now that's why you see everybody range and check shit. Why is there the tripod and bino line when they give you a booklet? Because they don't trust it anymore, because they knew people manipulated it in the past, right? If you're in that clique, and you got to understand, the shooters are match directors. So they're all teamed out. Like Shannon's Team Gap. And they do these things so Team Gap knows something you don't. At one finale, it was Gap versus Surgeon, and no one else mattered but the Team Gap and the Team Surgeon people, and there was almost like 10 guys on each. So there was like a 20-team shootout, and nobody else mattered. And in that context, people picked favorites. And there's ways of manipulating things in such a subtle way. I mean, like, okay, you got 10 stages 2 ROs per stage. That's hard sometimes. They're complaining about ROs now, right? They don't have an official RO group. So it's volunteer. Well, if you get a weak RO and you're a team and one of your teammates distracts the RO and then goes, "Oh yeah, he hit it." And the RO goes, "Well, he's the big team. I'm not going to question him." There's RO, like they tried to manipulate me at Major Land, you burning around in and then claiming a squid. I mean, I don't have my ears on like that, and it's like bang. And it was like, he shot, I see nothing. And then he goes, "That was a squib." What? Well, if I'm looking and I know my field of view is only so big, and he goes off and out of my field of view, I'm watching the target. The other RO might be watching him for safety, but he's on the prop in the right direction. He shoots around out of my field of view to get a win call and then turns around and says, "Squib." That's what he said to me. Squib. And I said, "Dude, you're a fucking cheater." Right to his face. I'm like, "You cheated me." And then I said, "You're trying to cheat me." And then he went in his pocket and pulled a round out that was like pristine and not in a dirty gun and said, "Look, squib." I was like, "What?" With that sound, and my ROs around me were bent because they all heard it and saw it because the ROs from up top came down. So I had 4 ROs with me, not 2. And he tried that. So imagine, I mean, even Laura here, Laura's known for mega controversy because she was a single RO on a stage. Joel Wise put a GoPro on her stage. A guy ND'd and hid it. And hid it. Not hit it. Hid it. So when Joel goes home, he sees the guy ND on the camera and then tricked the RO because there's only one RO. She's in the glass scoring the guy. He reached over, hit the trigger, it fired. He hit the berm. She saw the miss, but he ND'd and hit it, right? So there's such subtle ways to manipulate. And, you know, that's the thing. But you can eliminate some of this and streamline it and make it easier. And so I just think that if it was simplified, if it was kind of rebuilt less, it's got a lot of fouling built up over the 12, 13 years they've been doing it. Be 14 this year. But the fouling that's cluttered all that is too much. It needs to be stripped and repainted less. But they're too stubborn. They're too lazy. They don't want to change it. They think it works the way it is. It could be really good if they had rules. And they just refuse the rules because the way it is now, they're still able to manipulate it. Dude, I cheated in sniper school. My sniper school FTX, I cheated. So I had to go my final FTX. You have to go and make your movements, land nav, a lot of terrain, and then they opt for you and they have bad guys. And then you got to build a hide overnight. And then they're going to show up in the morning. And then you got to ID, do your stalk, and do all stuff for your hide. And for your final FTX. It's like everything you did in one operation over like a weekend. I went out to the main road, which leads to Courthouse Bay, which is where the Amtrackers are, took my shit off, stashed it, hitchhiked, got picked up by a Marine from Amtracker from Courthouse Bay, threw my stuff in his pickup truck. He drove me around the corner, dropped me off away from everybody. I came in from the backside, built my hide with no one seeing me because I didn't come in the front door. I came in the back door. If I got caught going out and hitchhiking on the road, I would have got kicked out. You get caught cheating, they kick you out, but they tell you to cheat. In sniper school, they're like, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Snipers are all about deception, right? You're supposed to be deceiving the other person. They encourage you to cheat in sniper school any way possible. In a stalk, I'm carrying 550 cord. I'm going past a bush that's low and movie, and I'm going to tie my 550 cord to it. I'm going to crawl 25 yards away, and when I shoot, I'm pulling the cord, and I'm going to move the bush to get the guy's attention. I'm deceiving him because I'm in a box and he's looking for me and he knows exactly where I am. If I don't cheat, I get caught. Period. They know how to cheat. Okay? We had a program, a Trimble, that let you put target reference points in it. Guys would go out at night and stand at the berms and mark each target in their Trimble. Then when they hit the fucking button, it gives them the range and everything to every target they marked. So now they go firing point here, and it says that target's right there. And they know it's already in their Trimble because they went out at night and they GPS'd it into their Trimble. Okay? You have to fucking cheat. And they just had the huge cheating scandal in PRS. You guys, the Prissies. They had the guy do 5. He changed 5 scores himself. He had admin access to the pad. He changed his score at 5 events, including the finale. He gave himself points at the finale, but everybody watches everything now because they cheat. They keep their own score because the ROs are weak and going to make a mistake, right? They know what their competitor's doing because they don't want it. And so his squad at the finale was watching Analog like a hawk and saying, how are you beating us when we're out shooting you? And then they caught him going into the backside admin of the computer and changing his score. This year, this finale. So they moved to the electronics, and then one of the guys, that's how friggin', like, that's where their mind is. They'll change their score in an iPad. Don't you think they're cheating for each other out there? They absolutely are cheating for each other out there. I can do a whole hour on how to cheat at a match and not get caught. An hour. I could do an hour. They all know it. They do it every day. They see when the RO goes, okay, go, and turns their head. That's how Jim C got banned for a minute. Jim C got banned. Like, very few people had prissy bans. Like, you can't shoot with us anymore. Why? There's border wars. So, rifles only. Shooting USA is there filming. They're doing a match. And on camera, because he doesn't realize the camera's there, he tells his buddy, hey, when the RO does this, Do this and move here. He won't see you, and you get a better shot. Because the RO's head's in the glass. And it's on camera. And so they do things, and then fights start and things like that. But, and that's where they did the technicality on Jake Vibert. Jake Vibert drops steel for me. Hey, he's coming to my match. Frank, can I sponsor a stage? Sure, Jake. Bring your steel, JC Steel. I will give you a stage. I had a long range stage, went to 1,150 yards. I said, Jake shows up. I said, in his pickup, I said, Jake, follow me. I drove him to like the 1,100 yard spot. I said, drop the first piece of steel here and follow me. I drove in. I'm a field match guy. What's the range to the target? I don't care. It's right there. I don't do match books. I don't do those things when I was doing my match. Where's the target? Right there, range it. So, Jake, drop a piece of steel, right? Drives forward 150 yards. Jake, drop a piece of steel. Drives forward 150 yards. Jake, drop a piece of steel. Okay, you got a turkey? Put that at 400 right here. Good. All right, you're done. Thanks. Put your pistol rack up. It was pistol to steel to highlight JC Steel. They zeroed his points for the Prissy season for that match because he dropped the targets. When I called and complained and said that was unfair, he did not do that stage. He just dropped steel off his thing. They told me, we're taxing him for something else. It was training day. Okay? They play training day. We're taxing him for this. Don't worry about that. This is our thing. Training day. Why the Prissies don't fix it and do it? Because they're playing training day. There's a group in there that runs the fucking show, and that group is always going to run the show, and you could buy into the show, but you got to show up a lot, and you got to be inside because it's training day. They fucking cheat. Don't worry about it. And they just got caught again. So there you go. Now, they took care of it better this time. The guy, the way he did it was completely unacceptable. But you know what they do most of the time? Nothing. Very few bands, very few things. When stuff happens, they don't do anything because they don't want the negative publicity. They sweep all the negative under the rug as hard as they can to the point they'll buy a bigger rug or lock the doors and put fucking shit over the windows so you can't see it. They will shut you down and turn you off before they admit the things they do to each other that are against the rules. And that's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? They're friggin' that's the prissy world for you. And they know it. And so they don't care. But yeah, I mean, the cheating just happened. There's all kinds of asterisks. You just never see them. They hide them. Footnotes are to be hidden, not used, right? We can't have footnotes to this thing because we don't want anybody to know. Dude, I was there before you. I'm here after you. I've been here the entire time. When the cheating scandal, the iPad cheating scandal, my phone blew up. I can tell you all kinds of things about the person. And I was sitting there, even because we were at Rifles Only, my phone continued to blow up because I'm getting ready to do my match. Hey, did you hear? 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 Yeah, I did. I heard it. Trust me, I heard it. And that's the way it is. Hey, did you hear is a thing. So they think they're slick. I think they're stupid. They don't understand the industry. They don't understand people at all because they're in an echo chamber. They might as well be fucking Democrats liberals. They are the liberal shooting league. You know what I mean? Because they're in the bubble. They refuse to listen to anyone. They think what they're doing is better than the rest, and they're a glorified bowling league, you know. And then they use like it's like fake excitement. It's like, oh, it's like, whatever, dude. It's fake excitement. So could be easily fixed, but they're too stubborn, too arrogant. And then in their mind, fixing it is an admission where people would move on. We always do. Like fixing it is not an admission. Everything should be modded. Like NASCAR. NASCAR's changing the format. They recognize. So NASCAR went from 36 race full points to the chase playoff format to the playoff elimination format. And now we're going back to something else that's a hybrid of the 36 in the playoffs, the chase. So even NASCAR in the last 20 years has modified 3 times at least how the series is scored. The Prissies don't learn that. And that's the problem is they feel changing it, modifying it, making it better is an admission. And instead, like we were saying, in my mind, at the Cup, because Jacob had gambles, you lose points at rifles only. KYLs. And Jacob does KYLs at distance. You can gain huge points. You can, or lose them. Everybody was gambling. And to me, the gamble and lose changed the outcome. They don't like that. So they eliminated it. I think they should have modified it. But gambling is fun, right? Slot machines. And so there's ways to do that. And it's the shooter. The shooter's making the decision. Dude, how confident are you you're going to hit that? At the Cup, everybody shot it and missed and lost points. If you held, you would have walked away rock star. If everybody held on 3, would have been a different match. But the gambles changed the outcome. And so to me, that's part of it. It's decision making. It's confidence. It's, are you there? It's not, oh, I earned those points and you took them away. No, you took them away. I didn't. You gambled. And so now you have TYL and not KYL. It's the inmates running the asylum. I like the support side still blows my mind. How many people can't or won't shoot support side? A lot of can'ts because there's no reason to. But that's a test of a skill. Like I said, if I'm on this side of the wall, am I going to be on my right all the way out or am I going to be on the left and tucked in? That's a skill. Injury drill. Oh, I hurt my hand. Freaking Colombian drug lord cut my shooting finger off with wire. Right? So now I got to do this hand or this finger. Chris finger. Right? Cut that finger off, Chris finger. Cut this hand off, this hand. That's why we test skills. Even a mag, like why isn't there a mandatory mag reload? Or, you know, because they let them go to 12 rounds, which I like that. 12 rounds in the mag. Fine. Still need to learn to reload it. That's why at rifles only, you see them in the videos. Safety, because we had a live fire obstacle course. But we saw something. Rifles only 10 plus years ago, we're driving to the airport. And as you take the curve in Corpus Christi, on the corner of 77 to go into Corpus to the airport, there was a big, giant concrete fabricator, culverts, gutters, whatever they make out of concrete. We had to solve 2 problems. 50 cals in the military and then run and gun. Jacob's like, look at that back lot with all that rejected stuff. Let's talk to him. Hey, can we get the stuff you're piled up back there and aren't using? Didn't meet spec, chipped, broke, cracked, whatever. Yeah, man, you haul it out, it's yours. We did tractor trailers of it. We'd shoot the Barretts and we'd stand the culvert up and shoot it till it was powder. Or we made a 300-yard live fire obstacle course. And we got guys climbing up in the air on these friggin' concrete creations. We had an excavator. We made shit. We were Lincoln logs. Literally, we made Lincoln log stuff out of culvert pipes, concrete. And we're doing that. And Jacob's like, ooh, safety. Ooh, we're close. Ooh, we're shooting like this. And everybody's running. I want them to go up, load the gun, shoot the spot, unload, go down the other side. So if someone falls, smart. So now we do it, and we look at each other and we went, holy fuck. Guys can't reload a magazine on a bolt gun. You got your gas gun and you got your friggin' pistol workspace. It was contractor shuffle at the time. Workspace in it, right? I'm doing the contractor shuffle. Because everybody's a contractor and everybody's looking through the friggin' trigger guard of their handgun, change mags. Flipping the guns with their contract. I had a dance. I had a contractor shuffle dance at the time. Because everybody, and then even the mag pull, like my daughter, I taught the mag pull flip with her AR, right? You got your AR, boo, it's out of there, boo, right? I got that AR gone because I'm doing contractor shuffle. But in a bolt gun, all now that have magazines because of me and George Gardner and Marty Bordson of Badger, we put magazines in a bolt gun. We were just talking about it at the match. So now you got a magazine in your bolt gun and nobody can reload it. They banged it, fouled it, missed it, all kinds of stuff. So Jacob and I, light bulb. Hey man, not only is it safe, but it teaches them where that damn mag well is on their bolt gun because nobody reloads their friggin' bolt gun fast under time like they do handgun and carbines. That's why you're stripping your mag, and if you watch the videos when you move, because it was a safety thing and it messed with people who didn't know where their mag well was because they didn't practice. Every time they put a mag in a bolt gun, it was admin. And now they don't make them do mag changes. Now you can get a 12-round mag and then pull the 2 out. And most stages aren't making it. Now that's a skill. I pulling the 2 and throwing them in. It's a thing. I'm with that. But changing your mag and accessing it and getting it in on the clock is another thing. Like with tripods. Tripods on the clock are not easy. You have to practice it. So, yeah, man, that's kind of where we were, how we've been, and what we've been doing, and all those things. And so that's what the hide's up to. That's where my head's at. That's where I'm thinking. And a nice little Sunday morning, have my coffee. Coffee's gone. My thing's cold. I got red line on my. I got electronic cup. Keeps my coffee warm. So when I'm chatting away and doing these things and all that, it's that. But yeah, think about what you're doing. If you're a match director, you can kind of make your own rules. They don't necessarily put you under thumb. I know it's easy to just, do the same stages over and over again. Use your head, man. Mix it up a little bit. What are you testing? That should be the question. What are you solving? And that is what eliminates the contrived nature of some of the stuff they do, right? What are you solving? Well, you already solved that 8 times. What's 9 and 10 going to do? Change something, right? If the solution in maybe it's a 1-day, 10 stage 1-day match, if 3/4 of those stages have the same solution, you should rethink it and look it up. Why are you doing it? Yes, I do. I think it's a skill, Robert, because anything can go wrong. Mags are always screwed up now. In an AR, you'd strip it right out and go to a new mag. And now we're always fiddling and fucking with because they load them long, they file them. There's, I remember down at Florida, Altus now, the first time I got my Gap team rifle, and it had a double stack AI mag, 6 Creed. I ran up to the stage with my bolt open. And when I put the mag in under the clock for a fast mover stage, you had to move. You had to go to like 3 windows that were kneeling and shoot a mover. And when I ran into the first one and put my mag in and banged it, all my rounds came out of the top. Because I had a double stack AI, my bolt was open, and I hit it hard enough and knocked rounds out the top. It fouled my mag all up. Spilled like 3 rounds on the ground, fouled the mag in and all that. So there's a skill to a mag change, absolutely. Why wouldn't you change a mag? You don't have to do it every stage, but at least 2 or 3 have a mag change. What's the reason not to put one in a stage? Right? If you're going to make me count like they do now, okay, you got, because the only way they can fuck with you right now is to change the order of the targets. No, you have to shoot A, C, B, D. You shot A, B, C, D. You have to shoot A, C, B, D. And that's all they can do now, really, because the time's not changing. The prop is the same. The movement's the same. 3 steps to a tank trap. Game changer. And then what are they going to do? Shoot red, yellow, blue, and then blue, yellow, red. Troop line. Oh, you shot that one out of order. The only way they trip you up is shooting something out of order. And the only reason there's an order to shoot it is because they gave it to you because they have nothing else to give you. So they're making you think anyway, so why not pull a person off task, pull the mag out, change it, and reload it? They do it with handgun. Boom, 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 drop that shit. How many times are there handgun stages that reduce the amount of rounds to pretend there's an issue to make you drop a mag to reload? Right? Fire 3, reload, fire 3, right? You're not dumping a mag every time in a handgun and reloading. Right? Yeah, I don't understand the support side. Absolutely, I can tell you, support side is where you're going to have a safety violation because they don't practice it and they don't make it a mandatory skill. When you make it like we were at Cameo and like everybody froze for a second because we did a stage with Walt's Hunter match. And Chris said, all right, like he was instructing, he was doing this, people had done the thing. And Chris said, they had them, the 1911s. I had a 1911, I had a Beretta, I had a 1911. There's 1911s if you want them. The Marine Corps always has a 1911 running around you could take. I carried the Beretta. But I started with a 1911. Anyway, the stage was the NRL, the Walt Cameo Hunter stage. I had a target, so if I look straight out in the way the stage was, there was a rock. I had a target 90 degrees to my left. I had a target in front of me, and then I had another target that was slightly to the right. So, short target 90 degrees, mid-range target dead in front of me at 0, and then the next target at like 45 degrees. Right? I walked up to the stage. I shot the first one because it's time plus hits. You have to hit to move on, and then the clock. I walked up to the first thing. I went, boom, 200-yard shot. Shot it. My next one's 4. I went, and I switched the gun to my left hand. Shot. And I was done. It was that fast. I went, boom, boom, boom. Because I went lefty. If it's a time plus hits thing, I save time. But if you suddenly go left out of your ass, it screws people up who never practiced it. But if you say shooting support side's a skill, changing a mag is a skill, yeah, I think we will be back to Pala. I probably will. I got to see what Mark. We had a big call for us to be back at Pala, so odds are we'll be back at Pala. But yeah, I mean, this is their mind is going to make it easier on me, the shooter. And they let the inmates run the asylum. And that's the difference with a rifles only, like Shooter was there. Rifles only, Jacob still does what Jacob does. Jacob didn't say, everybody just moves on a barricade, leave your mag in. He makes you take your mag out. He didn't cave after 12 years of this. He makes you take your mag out still. He makes you use a sling. He tells you you can't use that. Even Chris went to go and pull a tripod up on a stage, the 550 cord stage. Chris showed up with his tripod. Tripod rear. No. Got to do it without it. Don't use the tool, use you. Because we used us. Sling. Look at what is rifles only known for? Support shooting. Jacob shoots with a sling. Well, he wants you to shoot with a sling. Well, if you don't have the tools guys use today, using the sling to enhance your position like the old tripod stuff works well. Right? So in the old days with the tripod, when the tripod's weight rating was 20 pounds and the rifle had a 5/10 wobble zone, to get the rifle from a 5/10 wobble zone to a 3/10 wobble zone, you used the sling. Why everybody turns their hand upside down and do these things on tripods today? Those are training scars and left over from the old tripod days. If you see somebody walk up to a tripod like a Really Right Stuff today or Leofoto today and they flip their hand upside down and hold the opposite leg, that's a training scar from the old days. They are doing absolutely positively nothing with that hand today, flipping it upside down. In the old days, you flipped it upside down and you braced against your magazine and the rifle in your arm were touching each other. and you were using your arm to put pressure on the slack of your tripod. There is no slack in the tripod today. Different piece of equipment. And so, what are you doing when you flip your arm? That's a scar from the old days. You're doing nothing. And that's how it is, man. That's the game. You know what I'm saying? And so, right. I mean, having a sling and hands free, Chris and I, when Jacob was going to do the assassin way, and Chris comes from rock climbing. Chris is an insane rock climber. There's pictures of him hanging upside down on shit. You always need a hands free. One hand needs to be free at all times. And we wanted to promote that. We wanted to say when you started a stage, one hand had to be free. That's not how the case, right? Now you could be all preset up and a lot of stuff. But the idea of doing this correctly should be one hand should be free. And that's a climbing, field course, obstacle mindset. You need a sling for that. No one carries a sling. Right? Now they got the hooks and everything, which I like them. I like the OBSs and stuff. I like the slots and hooks. But no one carries a sling forever, even before that, because it got in the way for them. They didn't want the sling in their way because of the way the props are, because of the way where in the old days, we used the sling and we chicken wing, right? Sling chicken wing. And pull it in, strap it in, and now you're in the prop, and you were locked into the prop with the sling. Today, I just pull a tripod over and do tripod rear and be great, right? I've been in front of every variation of this. Every variation. I've seen everything. Even the crew, like before I showed up, when they just started doing it, I saw how they did it. And then it modified to how we did it. So, I mean, it's not coming, they'll cry. Well, you're not shooting Prissy with us now. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not shooting your game. I know your game. I'm not shooting alongside you, but it's not like I'm not out there shooting. I'm just not playing your game. Never make the mistake in thinking I'm saying this sitting in this room in a bubble. I'm out there and I see what you do. I show up and watch what you do. I talk to people who do what you do. No, there was no speed limit. So Robert's asking about, and that was a question because we were talking earlier with Chris. So Chris wants to shoot the 100 grain. The 100 grain goes over 3,200 feet per second. If you have a speed limit in the match, the 100 grain may go over it. I shot the Cameo match in March. They had a speed limit. A guy in my squad went over the speed limit. His score was DQ'd. They come behind you with a Garmin, you're over the speed limit. So when I spoke with Jacob, he said, I don't have a speed limit. So Chris was open to bring the 100 grain ammo. We were talking with Major Land. The Normas and the 300 PRC break targets. The 100 grain going fast don't. They really should look at more or less the power factor or the energy, because 100 grain at 3,000 isn't going to fuck the target up like a 30 cal at 28 or 2750. You know what I mean? And so again, this is it really needs, my biggest problem is they had the opportunity at COVID. And I said it out loud. Nobody paid attention because they're mad at me. I don't care. Fuck them. They suck. They're stupid. Literally. And COVID was the perfect opportunity for them to sit in a room and rewrite a Practical Rifle series. And they didn't. They could have came out of that COVID haze with a superstar. And I thought about it. I had it. I wouldn't give it to them, but I have it. Because I did it. I sat in there, and that's when I was talking the limited and the open. That's when I was looking at everything that had been, it's the fundamentals. We play the game of telephone, right? So for 12 years, the game of telephone has been made, and it's been modified and bullshitted and fouled and messed up for 12 years. It needed a reset. And COVID was the perfect opportunity to reset that and become a Practical Rifle series. And they didn't. They blew it. And so it wouldn't have been hard. It would really have just been a modification. And it would have changed so much in a positive way. But, and you know, as long as it's a bowling league, as long as it's ridiculously contrived, you suck, contrive, same answer, oh, wait a minute, that's wood, not steel. That's steel and not wood. I'm putting it on steel this time, so it's going to vibrate different instead of putting it on wood this time. It's ridiculous. It's contrived and silly. And it doesn't have, repetition is always going to make people better. But there's comp scars. There's training scars. You can create negative repetitions. And so it's like, fix this, modify that, and now this is going to morph naturally. Missouri. Well, we looked there ready this weekend, and I actually found a place in Missouri. I told Laura to kind of jump on it, and I think she reached out to him. I may even get it early, and just move out of here, live here, move, live, move, and just change little stuff as I'm moving. But we found a lot of good places, and it's looking like Missouri. So I'll probably be settled in, not too far from where GA and all those guys are. And even George says, you know, when I spoke to him at the match, he's like, hey man, we got ranges and stuff. That's pretty cool. So she knows that area better than I do in Missouri right now. And like I said, I may leave early, or I may grab the place early because we saw one that I was like, I like that. And then I'll look at where I'm at in Missouri. So that's most likely where I'm going to be. Because Colorado's communist hell. Everything's changing here, and so all that. But Missouri looks like where I'm settled into. All right, guys, I'm coming up on 2 hours, man. I'm going to go take care of some stuff. Appreciate everybody being on. Nice crowd on there today. Everybody, nice, nice, what do you call it? Group of people in the comments and the questions. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the comments. Makes it fun. I will be here again on Wednesday with Chris. We'll do our typical Wednesday. I didn't do Friday. I was super exhausted this week. I mean, I like sleeping last night. You can even see it in my eyes. I'm still just waking up and kind of coming out of a lot of busy work, a lot of head shit. But think about it. Practical rifle shooting. It needs to be practical. It should have common sense involved. You should be learning a skill, modifying, and not just tapping a trigger with something balancing on a bag. If this is the only thing I got to worry about, I'm not learning, right? So if I'm tapping a trigger on a bag, big deal. But thank you guys. Have a great week. I will talk to you this week. Appreciate you. I am going to be out of here. I got seconds. 2 hours. There we go.